There we go. So happy Friday, everyone. For those of you I don't know, my name is Landon Rank. I'm the Associate Director with SB Act. And this is our East Side wrap call where we discuss impacts of homelessness related to the East Side of Santa Barbara. So we're really glad you're here. I do see a few new names, and I would love if everybody wouldn't mind just introduce yourself in the chat window, and if you're with an organization, what organization. The regular format of these meetings is that we'll start with just a few general announcements, but then we'll open it up for community members to share questions or concerns or anything that you're seeing in the neighborhood. And then after that, we'll turn to our service providers to share about what they've been doing in terms of outreach recently. So the hope here is that we can create an environment where we're all able to sort of share information, since all of us are going to have different pieces of the puzzle to help address the issues in the neighborhood. So with that, I just have a couple of general announcements to get started. One being just the dates. This is an every 2-week meeting. So our next meeting will be on Friday, May 3rd. Next announcement being that we had a vote with the Planning Commission on April 4th, and the Daytime Navigation Center was approved. And so, Barbara, do you want to share any more on that?
Yeah, we received unanimous support at Mayor and Council as well as Planning Commission. So it's, I think, beyond our expectations, and we just are so grateful for that level of support from our elected officials and appointed officials. And we've also surpassed the 10-day appeal period. So we are in the clear and we are moving towards an opening timeline now, which is amazing to be able to say. I'm really excited and thrilled. And I know the real hard work begins now, but it's been definitely a lot of work going into this. So just again, thank you to everyone who's supported, participated, shown up, advocated for us to be able to get to this place.
Yeah, and thank you to Barbara, who put in a ton of work just to make this happen in the first place. So this will be 621 Chapala Street. So we're hoping that it will serve as a center and a place for people to go during the daytime hours as well. So we're hoping that it can serve the entire city, but it will be great to have it in that downtown corridor, especially. And then just great news from our county, but our South County region in particular, with the new Dignity Moves Village opening at the former juvenile hall. So this is in unincorporated Santa Barbara County between Santa Barbara and Goleta. And that's 80 units, half of which are specifically dedicated to behavioral wellness. So they'll be focused on individuals with behavioral health needs. So that will be serving people throughout the whole South County region, not just the city of Santa Barbara. But 80 is a lot. So we're just excited to get to see that many more people either off the streets or opening up the shelter beds. So we'll have more space for people. I know Jet's on the call. There may be somebody else from the county, but do you have anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, we're just really excited that it is ready to get going. So between this and then Hope Village up in Santa Maria, we do have quite a few tiny home villages across the county. So while we're seeing people staying in these shelters longer, it's because they're receiving more intensive services, which is preparing them to move on to permanent supportive housing or permanent housing successfully. So we're super excited about this.
And then Jet, while you're sharing too, do you want to share about the Lived Experience Advisory Board?
Yeah, so the Continuum of Care is working on launching a lived experience advisory board, and this is not meant to supplant the great work that SB Act is doing with their advisory board, but this would be specifically for Continuum of Care items. And so that would be funding recommendations or policy or system changes. So right now we are looking for an agency who would be able to help with the logistics of that, and specifically administering the payroll for that. It will be a compensated position for people with lived experience who are participating. And because the county is a little bit cumbersome to get payments out, we need to find a partner who's able to handle that payroll. And so we're looking for sort of a core group of people, both in the South County region as well as the North County region, with lived experience, either current or within the past 7 years. Who would be willing to serve as that core group to review policy and attend once monthly meetings. And they would be compensated at $25 an hour, like I said, in a payroll sort of method. And then also people who are only able to drop in occasionally, we recognize that it would be a huge commitment. And so individuals that are able to drop in just occasionally to meetings would be receiving a $25 gift card for their time contribution as well. So right now what we're looking for, I'll drop it in the chat. We have a request for proposals out for any agencies that may be interested in helping with the administration of that. And then within the next few weeks, we'll also be getting out flyers to be distributed by outreach teams to people on the streets or staying in their shelters, or people who have recently entered a permanent housing situation, to hopefully build that that countywide group.
Thanks, Jet. Always excited to see opportunities for people who've experienced homelessness to get to help speak into this process, because in a lot of ways they have expertise that we don't, that those of us who've never experienced homelessness just don't have. So really helps to move things along. And then I wasn't planning to do this originally, but since we have so many people from the Familiar Faces team on the call, I would love if, because we have community members on this call, people who aren't familiar with that project, I would love if one of you would be willing to just introduce kind of what Familiar Faces is and what you'll be doing.
Yeah, good morning. As I introduce myself, I'm Vanda Epstein, an advocate with the Public Defender's Office. And I have with me today Ricky Calvillo and Tim Acri. And the Familiar Faces team is an interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary team with the county agencies of probation, behavioral wellness, and the Public Defender's Office. And we are focusing on a specific population of individuals that are frequently cycling through the jails, mental health crisis calls, and medical emergency usage, hence the name Familiar Faces, although I think we're trying to become the familiar faces to them, to an alternative to just incarceration and repeated cycling without moving to greater stability.
And then, Vanda, just for people who aren't familiar as well, this is not a program that's specifically focused on homelessness, correct? It's just, there is some overlap there.
Exactly. It is not, it's more justice focused, but as we all know, there is a huge overlap. So I would imagine most of our individuals will be living on the street or experiencing housing instability, and soon to be potentially on the street.
So we're really excited for this effort, because I think a lot of us know who those familiar faces are. So appreciate the efforts directed towards them.
Right. And one thing to note, though, it's not an open referral system at the moment. So that's still sort of being worked out. But I think it's just important for us to be at these meetings as much as possible, because once again, we're going to have an overlap.
That's great. Thank you. All right. So at this point in the meeting, we'll open it up for community members to share questions and concerns. This helps us to direct sort of the rest of the conversation in the meeting as well. So let's open it up for anything from community members. And this is not a speak now or forever hold your peace kind of thing. If you have questions or concerns that come up later in the meeting, you can still raise those. Natalia, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I've got a couple of questions here. Let me start off with Liz. Liz, I'd like to get an update on you and your team still continuing to go out into the Eastside business district. Like I said, an update. Did you go out this week? And when are you going to continue to go out to the community?
Thank you. We have not been out recently to do full rounds into the businesses. JV, do we have anything scheduled coming up?
No, The only update I have is that we are doing a community cleanup um, on the east side on April 27th from 10 to 12. Um, so if you'd like to take part of that, we would love to have you.
So we'll work to get additional dates scheduled, and our goal is to just have ongoing dates every month so we can share those when we have them scheduled.
Okay, so you don't, as of today, as of this morning, you do not have those dates scheduled, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Odin, I believe this goes to you. I met with Casey Corbin earlier this month and for a meeting at Jack's Bagels, and I went to the fire station there on Cacique and Iron Horse to tell them about it and also talk about the RAP meetings. They had no idea about these RAP meetings, and I'd like to know why. I sent you an email with their contact information and I never heard back.
Natalia, I don't believe I received that email. I'd like to let you know that the supervisors are familiar with the ERAPs, or that and the frontline staff. We do make regular, at least once a quarter visits over there. They have my flyer with my name, with our resources, all in that ways. And if there's any issues, especially with Iron Horse has been very, very vocal and very good about reaching out to me specifically about any issues that are interim housing staff as well. I feel, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Iron Horse, that direct contact between Iron Horse and direct staff here at PATH have been more than effective in dealing with any of the issues that they may be having. But we will continue advocating and saying, hey, come over this way to voice your concerns in place of, speaking to us directly. So they're familiar with it. I don't know what other news I can give you, but to my knowledge, with my contacts over there, they're familiar.
And so both places, correct? The fire station and of course Iron Horse.
Iron Horse, indeed. Yeah.
And our city fire inspectors participate in some of our regional action plan meetings as well. So in terms of the actual team at that fire station, depending on the depth of that information being shared, it might not be familiar to everyone. And Natalia, I also wanted to add, we engaged with Iron Horse at our last Eastside Wrap walk. And so Landon, maybe we can just make a note to make sure that we're re-engaging with them as well.
I think we may have added their email addresses for this meeting,
Yeah.
but it was only in the last week. And with that too, since we do those walks with some regularity, if anyone has any suggestions of, hey, here's a business, please go talk to them. We're happy to go out and make sure they get a flyer about the wraps and they know what we're doing here.
Okay, thank you for that. My last question is to you, Casey, regarding our meeting on April 3rd. When you were mentioning, hold on, the cat team. So it looks like they are out. I've seen them recently. So thank you. If that was your doing, thank you very much. I'd just like to know, of course, will you keep that momentum going in the East Side District?
Hi, Natalia. Thank you for
Hi.
setting up that meeting. And yes, so our CAT team, we recently moved the schedule around, and we have what's a Wednesday overlap day. That means we have 7-day-a-week coverage, but the entire team works on Wednesdays now, and we're using those Wednesdays for focus areas. And so last Wednesday, the 10th, we used 800 Cacique as our focus area. In that time, let me look here. There were over 30 citations and seven bookings into county jail as a result of criminal activity in the area. So we are going to continue. We have different focus areas around the city for our Wednesdays, highlighted primary and secondary areas. And every Wednesday you will see the CAT team they're going to be 7-day-week coverage, but Wednesdays we're going to have specific focus areas where the entire CAT team will be working for the day.
Great, super. Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And thanks everybody else for answering my questions.
Thanks, Natalia. And Commander Corbett, would you mind explaining the CAT team? There's a question in the chat.
Absolutely. I'm looking to see what the question. CAT team. Our CAT team is our community action team. And so those are our officers that you see mostly on bicycles. And they really, are familiar and kind of know all of our, all of our people that are in the street that we contact quite a bit and quite often. So they're a very proactive team. They don't generally respond to calls for service like our normal patrol officers. And so we can direct them to some of our community concerns in some specific areas and area focused. We flex our hours around, sometimes working nights and days based on where we're needed and where the community needs us. So our community action team, it's also combined with our co-response team. And those are our officers that are paired with mental health clinicians that are doing our mental health follow-ups and respond to calls where we have somebody that's struggling or dealing with some sort of mental health event or emergency that's not necessarily a law enforcement, but might have a safety consideration. So they respond with the clinician.
Thank you. I think Chris is disappointed it's not a team of trained cats, but Commander Corbett and the CAT team are really our homelessness liaisons. So if there are any questions for the police department related to homelessness, they're the people you'll want to go to. Any other questions from the community? All right, so let's do some updates from our service providers. I guess let's start with the PATH team since we've already heard from you a little bit.
Hello. I am actually, so I'm going to turn it over to other team members, but just wanted to start off with a sad announcement that I will welcome Odin to join for this announcement, and want to provide an opportunity for folks to have some space to share after the announcement, and then JB can jump in about some of the things that we have going on here.
Thank you, Liz. It is with great sadness that I announce that my last day at PATH will be on the 26th of this month. For any and all communications or concerns or needs for outreach, please do call the hotline. It does go to the team over here, and direct any concerns over to our immediate directors, either Liz or Joel Goforth. It has been a very rewarding experience working here at PATH. I've made a lot of good connections, great colleagues, made a lot of, I did a lot for the community, I feel, housing over a dozen individuals on the east side, just really from the streets into their own place of being, connected numerous individuals out to residential and outpatient treatment places, and responding to community concerns. It has been, Santa Barbara is one of those unique places where the city really does care about, the people who are unhoused. They really care about the people on the east side. And although, I was, being out there on the streets every single day for the past 2 years trying to help people out, it was really, really rewarding knowing that I had, a team in CityNet and Good Samaritan and everybody here on SB Act and code enforcement. It was doing everything they can to try and help the folks out and around the city. It's been an absolute pleasure working for the community, and these next few weeks, I hope to facilitate warrant handoffs to the people I've been working with so far into very capable hands, like the folks at the Rescue Mission, Salvation Army, CityNet, all those folks that you're familiar with. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me or my supervisors. Again, my last day was on the 26th. And yeah, this will be my last ERAP. passing on to JV.
No questions other than just why. We really appreciate you, Odin.
100%. Thank you, London.
Odin, I really can say, just based on my 16 years of being in Santa Barbara, I will say you were one of the best faces that Path has had. Obviously Al Ortiz is still with us, thank goodness. Chuck Flax is still with us. But Odin, I just am so appreciative of your relationship building, rapport building, finding and exhausting every avenue to support clients, to achieve success. You have been so genuine, so authentic, so approachable, so responsive. Honestly, I'm a little surprised, but happy, obviously, for you to move on to the next chapter. But wow, you are gonna absolutely be missed. You for sure have been the heart of the East Side for the last couple of years, and it has been such a joy working with you.
Thank you, Barbara. That really means a lot.
Thanks, Odin. So I just have a few updates. On April 22nd, we have Cash for Trash with the city, and that's from 10 to 11 a.m. We are also having our first AA meeting here on site at PATH, and that's at 7 to 8:30 p.m. And then we have again our community cleanup on April 27th from 10 to 12 p.m.
Thanks, JV.
And I just wanted to also have Joel just jump in, and he's been at these meetings ongoing, but he is a supervisor. So in the interim, will kind of be the contact. So Joel and Herschel and I will kind of be the contacts as Odin departs, and we work to get someone in his place. And if anybody knows somebody who would be an amazing outreach worker, send them our way.
Well,
Joy,
thank you, Job. Go ahead, Liz.
Joy, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I'll drop my contact information into the chat group so everyone has my phone and email. And then, whatever you need, just, drop me a phone call or text, email. Either way, I'll be responsive. And I would just add to the appreciation of Odin and the sadness of him leaving. I've managed a lot of people in my career, and he is by far one of the most awesome people to work with. So yeah, he'll definitely be missed, and I'm really grateful for the time I've had with him, and he's actually taught me a lot.
Thanks, Joel. And the best way to get a quick response to is really just to use that phone number and email address that's on that community resource flyer that we've shared out, because that rings to a whole team of folks over here.
Thank you, Liz. All right, let's go to our CityNet team, Al. Al, are you able to unmute?
Yeah, I was waiting for my screen to come up. Well, good morning,
worries.
everyone. And it's definitely, sad news with Odin. I was just waiting my turn to speak. You have made such an impact this past 2 years. You were so great. We are so grateful to have you for the amount of time we've had you. We definitely have to make sure we get something for you going away, because you've always been a part of our going aways for our team. So make sure you let me know, and you let the team know. I know you will, because we got to celebrate you, because you are so well deserving as a human, as a supportive service worker for our community. It's been a pleasure to collaborate with you, Odin, and now we're gonna figure out we're gonna be out there on our own for Spanish outreach. That was a big part of what you guys had began with Christina, who's now with us, and the other team. So we got to continue that. not only for our community, for these individuals out there, but something that you guys started. So you're going to be heavily missed, and you are greatly appreciated. And we will definitely, this definitely is in the end. We'll definitely continue communication in the future, Odin. So thank you. As far as our outreach in the community, like I said, we have been getting some community calls within the Eastside area, specifically more in the, I've had a couple in the Dwight Murphy Park area, and we've been able to connect with those individuals, collaborating, connecting greatly. Andrew, it's a pleasure to meet you and see you in person. Well, I haven't met you in person yet, but thank you for reaching out to us with any of those concerns. I think the team's doing a great job being able to go and follow up with areas. I think we had 2 since the last time, specifically more down in the East Side area by the post office, that we were able to follow up and connect with. And I think the team, the city team, was able to go follow up and I think start doing up some clearings with what Officer Corbett was talking about, just in general, about providing the extra resources out there that have been going out there. I just love to be able to point out just how these connections and how these meetings make a difference with our outreach community members, sending us, notifications of where they can use some support, how we're able to get out there. From there, Andrew and I were able to connect and get the team in the city following up. But on top of that, being able to continue, having follow up with PD, just to kind of make sure we're trying to keep it as low barrier as possible. So just that workflow, I think, the community wise has really making a difference, and it is going to have its upticks. That's just one thing I think we've kind of seen to this point of that. But being able to have us having faces to where we need to get to, organizations and providers who we need to contact during these has been huge. The one big thing I wanted to kind of just bring to the team, there has been a high vulnerable individual that's caused a good amount of concern for a while right there on Cacique. And I got to say, my team has been able to connect with this individual now, get IDs, went to the Social Security office last week. It was you guys will still see him around right there right now. But I just want to, my team's not on the call, but I just want to applaud my team for helping with this individual. They've literally had to help, and where we've had to get our vans washed every time due to, some feces, some urine, stuff like that. It's really, it's difficult, and, even for us, it's tough, and it's tough for the team. But I just got to applaud my team and thank CityNet just for how we work, where it's like this individual definitely needs a higher level of care, but he's been there for a while, and there was not that much progress for a significant amount of time. We're talking about months. And there's been some huge progress being made. So we're waiting for the Social Security card right now, working on getting this individual document ready, but we're still looking to get additional resources. But other than that, we have been doing the Spanish outreach still, and we will continue that. And we look forward to hopefully having the next person with PATH, because we love working with you guys out there to get to be able to provide those services to the community.
Thank you so much, Al. I know that is one of our most challenging cases that we have before us right now. So I just so appreciate your team going above and beyond. And to share with folks, this is a long-term Santa Barbara resident. His family has lived on the East Side for generations. This is where he feels most comfortable. I absolutely wish that he was not located there and has been located there for months, but we're doing everything we can to prioritize his case and make the appropriate referrals. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you all. All right. I know Shannon from YMCA had to drop off. Are there any updates, Commander Corbett, that you haven't already shared that you wanted to share?
No, nothing further outside of, our focus Wednesdays. I met with Natalia and Mr. and Mrs. Ramirez, and then I went to Marburg and met the staff there. And so I'm happy to continue kind of building those relationships as we get up and running. So I appreciate the meetings and everybody reaching out to me. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
I just want to jump on real quick. Sorry, Lan. One thing I did forget, just for the community, was added to our new contract extended areas for our nights and weekends team that work Tuesday through Sunday. I am available, by phone primarily for any concerns on the weekends. But we do have an emphasis now for our nights. They work from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. for any concerns on the cacique in that area. So the city thankfully was extended us for those teams. So that actually additional support for the Eastside community specifically for additional outreach on the weekends and later evenings. So please continue sending the any concerns if you happen to have during those times.
Thank you. And maybe I'll pull up the hotline card just so we can put that on the screen again. in a
Yeah, this
minute
is an
here.
extension of that State Street waterfront hotline number for nights and weekends. The Lower East Side has been added as a third priority region for that team.
Great. And then can I go to Andrew from Code Enforcement for any updates?
Yeah, thanks, Landon. And yeah, thank you to Odin. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten to work super closely together just yet. But it sounds like I'll be missing having you around. But yeah, from our end, we've really appreciated the assistance of Al and the CityNet team, as well as Commander Corbett and the CAT team. They've been doing some great work down the Cacique area, which we've also been trying to attend to very closely. Really focusing on that area in front of Marburg, as I know it's been quite the point of concern. So we've been down there, made contact with a few individuals, but all in all, we were even down there this morning just taking a look. It's definitely, we've seen a lot of improvement. We continue to be over by Dwight Murphy Field, primarily dealing with some of the encampments that are closer to the zoo and closer to the creek areas. Those have been our focus points. Individuals are, reoccurring and popping back up, but we're doing our best to kind of get a hold of that issue and really put some attention towards it. So otherwise, we continue kind of our general patrols of the waterfront area, and other little things as they're noted on the east side. But all in all, it's we've seen a lot of positive change lately, and I think that's a good result from working closely with the CAT team and with CityNet. So
Great, thank you, Andrew.
And I have a couple of things to share if there's time to before we sign off from the community.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
So a couple of things. It's been a doozy of a week, I'll say. We did receive our 2024 preliminary point in time count results that went public through a press release from the county yesterday, but will be presented to the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. And we were disappointed to see that our point in time count has increased by 200 individuals. So over the last 3 years, we've seen steady declines. This is our first increase over that period of time. A huge percentage, so 95 individuals are an increase in people experiencing vehicular homelessness. We saw this crisis emerging about 8 months ago. We were anticipating, obviously seeing a huge increase because eviction moratoriums, rental assistance programs, all of those expirations in 2022, people going through the eviction process, legal processes in 23 have resulted in more people experiencing homelessness. Vehicular homelessness is also that next last resort for people who've lost their home because it's just not affordable. We have an uptick across the county and first time experiencing homelessness, as well as families experiencing homelessness. So it does require us to not only, double down on the strategies that we have currently in play, but to be able to do things tailored specifically to first-time homeless as well as families experiencing homelessness. Having said that, we just received great news yesterday that the governor has awarded Santa Barbara County $7.9 million through the Encampment Resolution Fund, specifically to address vehicular encampments. So this could not come at a better time. We are so relieved and so happy that we'll have these resources over the next 2 years. Dwight Murphy is one of the high focus priority regions. This includes rapid rehousing dollars, again, because a lot of these families are still working, a lot of individuals, they have connections in the community. It's that security deposit, it's first month's rent, it's some sort of rental subsidy to get them and help them get back on their feet. So a huge, much needed win for us. And the city of Santa Barbara was a co-applicant with the county of Santa Barbara. So we'll receive directly our own financial resources. That's $1.4 million, our own dedicated street outreach team, our own case managers with New Beginnings, to be able to expand that resource. So yeah, tough to see the numbers across the board, but so thankful that these resources are coming in at a really key time. So I wanted to share that from the city of Santa Barbara. And again, we'll have more to share as that program expands and rolls out moving forward.
Thank you, Barbara. That is really exciting news. And, you know, we don't have Safe Parking here with us today, but we know that they are A, swamped right now, but B, also staffing up majorly. So, and I think the other important thing, which you mentioned in there to note with the point in time count numbers growing, because you said that a large number of people who are first time homeless this year. And so I think it's worth noting. So these are people who have never experienced homelessness, as far as we know. So one of the major issues is that the prevention piece. How are we able to keep people from becoming homeless in the first place? So it's not by any means a reflection of a failure of our outreach teams or a failure of our shelter system, but it is a kind of a societal failure we have as a state right now of being able to offer places for people to stay affordably in our communities. So all that to say, I think there's a lot to work on here with our whole community, but I do want to say it doesn't necessarily reflect negatively on all the efforts that have been poured out.
No, and I will share it too, Lyndon. I know that we'll have the county present more details on this at a future ERAP meeting. But the increase was vehicular homelessness and sheltered homelessness, right? So to have an increase of 77 people in shelters means our outreach teams, our expansion to 7 days a week, all the referrals that are happening are working. So there was a nominal increase in people living on the streets. That was 28 folks. So I know 200 feels like, and I will say personally, it feels like a huge weight. But I will say the numbers do speak for themselves in terms of what we're trying to accomplish moving forward. And obviously the Daytime Navigation Center being a huge resource, especially for first time people experiencing homelessness.
Thank you, Barbara. All right. Any other questions or anything anyone wants to raise while we're all together? All right. Well, with that, we will close for today. Thank you all for being here and have a great weekend.
Thank you.